Over the last few decades, English speakers have quietly agreed to tidy up our professional vocabulary. We take words that explicitly mark someone as a woman, like waitress or stewardess, and we sweep them away, replacing them with modern, neutral terms, like server or flight attendant. The feminine suffixes that survive, like the S and the trix, mostly exist now as a kind of embalming fluid. Nobody is actually employed as an aviatrix anymore. She belongs in vintage photographs and fantasy novels, where the language is strictly a decorative costume. I recently caught myself playing this exact game. I thought I could fix the word administrator by dropping its ancient Roman or suffix and spelling it with an ed instead. Administrator. No toga required. It felt regular, cleanly English, and wonderfully neutral. But here is the problem. Nobody has heard administrator as a strictly male word for centuries. The masculinity drained out of it generations ago. So respelling it to be neutral corrects exactly zero injustice. It includes no one who was previously excluded. I had taken a private aesthetic grudge against Latin and pinned a moral inclusion badge on it. This points to a trick the English language plays on us. When it comes to gendered professions, English doesn't abolish anything, it launders them. We can see how this laundering works in this diagram. English takes the masculine word, like actor, promotes it to the universal term, and swallows the feminine term whole. The feminine term doesn't get equal standing. Instead, it gets packed away into a cultural archive. Then we present this grammatical vanishing act as a total victory for equality. But neutrality achieved by declaring the male form the real word all along is a peculiar kind of neutrality. When you collapse the feminine into a masculine default, you are inevitably conceding that she was the deviation the entire time. This total erasure is disguised as progress. To see how deeply conditioned we are, we need to cross the channel and test this logic against a completely different operating system. French grammar cannot launder words. Every noun comes in obligatory pairs. The gender is everywhere, and it is structural. There is no discrete, neutral server to reach for when the waiter versus waitress debate gets uncomfortable. So facing the exact same desire for equality, French feminism went the opposite direction. They couldn't neutralize, so they aggressively feminized. They insisted on visible markers on the page. They dug up buried historical words like autrice for a female author, and championed inclusive writing conventions that place feminine endings right alongside masculine ones. The institutional resistance was immediate. In 2017, the Académie Française, the old guard authority on the language, unanimously pronounced these overt feminine markers a mortal peril to the French language. Look at the divergence. Forced to seek equality, English neutralized, while French feminized. To an English speaker, the French method feels loud and chaotic. We look at a word like professorer with an added E and find the insistence on highlighting gender faintly ridiculous. But to a francophone, the English solution is baffling. Our shrug of just calling everyone an actor looks totally tone-deaf. They see a culture erasing women and pretending it's simply good hygiene. The uncomfortable truth is neither culture operates from an airtight, objective moral principle about women. We are both simply reasoning from what our native grammar makes cheap. English prices neutralization low. French prices it so high it's nearly impossible. Both sides have mistaken the convenience of their syntax for a profound moral discovery. You can prove this by looking at where the neat English rule of laundering suddenly falls apart in the real world. Consider the Best Actress category at the Academy Awards. Society fiercely protects this explicit, unlaundered feminine marker. We absolutely refuse to discard it. If we applied our standard rule here, collapsing everyone into a single, generic Best Actor pool, the math gets grim. In a male default system, women risk being systematically crowded out of the recognition. In this instance, the feminine suffix is not a nostalgic costume. It is performing live, present-tense, distributive work to ensure women are actually seen and protected from the male default. Tidy grammatical rules are incredibly satisfying, but they are terrible at navigating complex social inequities. If we blindly honor the impulse to abolish all feminine markers, we are forced to demand the removal of protections like the Best Actress category, and very few people actually have the appetite to stand up and defend that claim. We have to stop dressing up our aesthetic convenience as moral superiority. True equality doesn't come from erasing the lines to make the language look tidier. It means living in the uncomfortable friction of how we actually exist together.